Well, it's 7 o'clock. I'm going to call the meeting of the Milton Plan Commission for Tuesday, September 10th, 2019 to order. And the first item is the roll call.
Farrar,
Yeah,
Hubbard,
Here.
Murray,
Here.
Paulson,
Here.
Ramsey,
Here.
and Slavish is absent.
so at this time, we have to take some time off. One of our colleagues, Wayne Ferdihart, he passed away while he was on John Muir Trail in California. So this was one of his dreams to do that trail. It's about 240-mile long trail. So he was about to finish it, and I think he was in Kings Canyon, and he was the first one on the trail, and he slipped right on the ice and died instantly. So I had known Wayne for well over 20 years. Our kids went to school, both in his older daughter was my daughter's age, and her middle daughter was my son's age. So, and they went to college, undergraduate together, and also the graduate school, and they were both living in San Francisco area. So, and I had known his younger daughter as well. It was a big loss to me as a friend. And to the city, he was a great planner and did a lot of work for the Plan Commission, also a zoning board of appeals. And I would like Abby, she has something written to read as well, so.
We'll be delivering this arrangement to Wayne's wife later tonight, and we wrote Wayne's creative spirit, thoughtful commentary, and kind smile will be missed by so many of us at the city. Sending our deepest sympathies to you and your family from the Middleton Plan Commission and staff.
If anybody else wants to say anything at this time. Otherwise, I know Kurt Parson was there at the funeral services, and Mark was there at the visitation, as was Jennifer, and Mike Davis, I went there as well. So let's have about a moment of silence in memory of Wayne Ferdihart. Thank you. It shows the fragility of life. And okay, so under the agenda items, the first item is the approval of the minutes.
So move. Second.
Okay, all those in favor of approval of the minutes say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Anyone opposed? So the motion passes unanimously.
I wasn't at the meeting, so
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
voting.
Okay, so then the next item is item number 2. This is the sign design review, Nice Fit Alteration 6670 University Avenue. This was something which we deferred from last meeting. You want to say anything more, Abby?
Sure. Well, I think they've brought back 3 options for you to consider and see what you'd like. They would like to keep the nice fit alterations because they don't really want to refabricate the entirety of the sign, kind of as we suspected at the last meeting. So they've given us 3 options, and you guys can weigh in on your preference.
I like the third one. It looks really nice, but
I recommend
first-
that the third one moves forward.
okay.
I'm sorry?
I'll make a motion that the third one moves forward with, and bridal stowing in bold, bigger letters, all on one line.
I guess, sorry, we need
Okay,
I'll second that.
a second.
Okay, all right.
The only minor concern on option 3, if you scroll down, is that it's a different font
Yeah,
needed to fit it in. And I doubt from any distance anyone's gonna notice the absence of a serif, but, there's no way to fit it in the other way, so, it seems fine to me. Oh, hold on. You just have to speak to the microphone, so
oh,
just,
okay. Yeah,
just so
go ahead
that
and come to the
the,
microphone, please.
just for the recording purposes, yeah.
If you look at the first drawing
Yep.
with the if you go,
That's the font,
no, just go to the,
First drawing?
Yeah, the first
I think
one.
the first
option
one.
one.
Yeah, it is just not as bold.
That's
I
the
think
same font,
First one is okay too, so.
so it gets much smaller. We used the condensed font on the last drawing that we looked at that,
Yep.
just because it seems like it fits better.
Yeah,
That was the only reason.
yeah, yeah.
So the same exact font just looks way too small.
Sir, what's your name and your company?
Mike Chamberlain, Vital Signs, Verona, Wisconsin. You bet.
I'm
And-
fine with option three.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, then the motion is to approve the sign design review for nice fit alteration 6670 University Avenue. And the motion is for option 3. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So the motion passes. All right, time to celebrate. Thank you. Okay, we are on to item number 3, at the specific implementation plan modification for sign design review, board and brush 7605 Elmwood Avenue.
Do you wanna take this one, Mark?
Daphne wrote the comments here. This is in downtown. It's a non-illuminated facade sign and window sign vinyls. Facade sign consists of 60-inch by 18.5-inch wooden board that goes above the awning and below the lighting. It's identical to signage at their location in Sun Prairie. And the staff recommendation, there's also information about the window graphics as well. The staff recommendation was approval as a minor modification to the Middleton Center SIP.
Move approval as a minor modification, minor SIP modification.
Yeah, they actually look very good. I spent fair amount of time looking at them, and that gray is actually a
Have they,
glass, so.
have they moved in yet, or are they?
Yeah, go ahead, please come here and identify yourself and,
Hi, my name is Molly Schmack, and I'm going to be the studio manager at Board and Brush. Our grand opening is actually the 19th, so next Thursday. But yeah, no, so we're not quite open yet, but we're excited to be opening up very soon. So yeah,
Looks good.
Are you aware that's the
Perfect.
night of the wine walk?
I am aware. It just kind of
good
happened to
timing.
be that night. Yeah, we figure it's going to be nice and busy downtown, and we're excited to be in the hustle and bustle of it all. Yeah.
good timing, so.
Yeah, I know. I walk around a little bit after the grand opening. Yeah,
But the budget meeting might bring the crowd here, though, or not, you know.
true. We'll be competing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see, wine or city budget meeting?
Wine and both.
And we'll
That's a
also
tough
have
one.
margaritas and snacks too. So I mean, yeah.
Okay,
Thank
so,
you.
Yeah, it's true, you know it.
so the motion is to approve, and it was seconded, and it looks great. I was pretty pleased. I think it's gonna look really nice. So all those in favor of the motion to approve the SIP modification for sign design review for board and brush on 7605 Elmwood Avenue, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So the motion passes. Go and celebrate, so. All right. We are on to item number 4, specific implementation plan modification for sign design and review, Jason Thomas Homes.
So Daphne did the staff comments for this one, but the applicant is requesting permission to display one non-illuminated facade sign and a double-sided flag-mounted bracket sign in Middleton Center Phase 1. I think this might be the last remaining
Yeah,
Yeah, less,
tenant space in Phase 1. The facade sign consists of 2 layers of acrylic that go above the door, and she provided the dimensions, about 7 feet by 2.5 feet. The flag-mounted bracket sign will be 2 by 2, which is the exact same size as the journeyman sign. And the recommendation is approval as a minor SIP modification.
move to approve as a minor SIP modification.
yeah, actually, also looks very good.
Also looks good.
Yeah, yeah. Good. Job
Yeah,
done,
phase
good
one
job.
is, it'll be nice to be fully occupied.
Yeah, it's full, so. Okay, any other questions or comments? All those in favor of the motion to approve the SIP modification for sign design and review for Jason Thomas Homes, 7521 Hubbard Avenue, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So the motion passes unanimously. All right. We are on to item number 5. This is the recommendation to submit request for a central urban service area amendment for the Diamond parcels, the Twin Sunset Road.
And, so this concept was previously approved by the Plan Commission, just for concept approval. This is a request to annex 2 properties into the city. They are contiguous. About 3 years ago, the city annexed the property just to the east, which we called the Beverly Grove parcel when it was going through the process. And this is very similar. It's a petition for direct annexation by unanimous approval. And I met with our city attorney about this earlier because this was one thing that Eileen always handled and Mark and I haven't had as much experience with, and we wanted to make sure we were following the proper procedure. What we've tried to do here is follow the same timeline that Eileen followed when reviewing the Grove project. And she had requested authorization from both the Plan Commission and the council to proceed with the Central Urban Service Area amendment because the application it's pretty time consuming from a staff standpoint, and she wanted to get authorization from the Plan Commission and the council before proceeding. So we've outlined that here. Our recommendation is to authorize us to prepare that application and make that recommendation to the Common Council. It's possible that the actual annexation petition could be on the council agenda as early as next week, based on what I learned from our city attorney. I was under the impression that the application for annexation would need to come to the Plan Commission and also have a public hearing. As it turns out, this type of annexation petition does not have a public hearing requirement, and it also doesn't require Plan Commission review. So he was comfortable if, you know, assuming that you guys were okay with us proceeding with the, excuse me, the application for the CUSA amendment, with putting this along with the other item on the council agenda.
And the reason this one doesn't need a public
Because
hearing?
it's, this type of annexation is minor in comparison to a typical annexation where there might be multiple property owners involved. These 2 parcels are both owned by 2 individuals who have both applied to become part of the city. We also, they, at the time that they filed the petition with the city, were required to file it with the town of Middleton as well. And I believe that there's a 30-day period in which the town can raise concerns. We haven't reached, I don't think we've quite reached the 30-day period, but so far we haven't heard any indication from the town that they would contest this.
And it's because these lots were created by CSM,
Yeah.
not by a subdivision plat.
Okay,
So it doesn't require DOA review.
Okay,
thank you. I did not realize that.
see, it helps, doesn't it?
Yes,
So-
it does.
Okay, so need a motion,
I'll move approval or move forward as you outlined, Abby.
Second.
okay? Any,
I guess the
Question or
only
comments?
comment,
Yes.
just as a note, this area, we have a lot of, if you look at the map, it's disjointed as to what's in the town and what's in the city, and just wondering if we're going to see more potential annexations or potential development activity in that area. Just not sure what is prompting it, or I'm trying to remember from our discussion why they want to annex, to get public water and sewer.
I would suspect for development of their other lot, the vacant lot, I would imagine.
The vacant lot that's just west.
I'm just
Yeah.
speculating.
I think you wrote the staff comments initially when it
Right.
came forward for concept review. And looking back, one thing that you did flag, I believe, if I remember correctly in the staff comments, was that one of the lots could potentially be subdivided. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, because of the size of it, yeah.
Okay.
And that's because the current zoning in the town is probably their R1.
at least,
And if it was moved into the city, our R1 has a minimum lot size of 7,200.
72.
Well, and you can see this is 51.8.
Is anybody here on behalf of the applicant? Okay, maybe you could shed some
You want to
light
say anything, sir, if you want to share?
Hi, I'm Franklin Kirk. I represent the applicants here. The reason I understand that they have proposed this is for city services entirely, as you projected. They, to my knowledge, have no plans to subdivide that vacant lot. One is vacant, one has a house on it presently. So,
Half of the houses in that little subdivision along Twin Sunset Road are in the town and half are in the city. The ones that are in the town, are they just on well and septic?
This would be the only one that's gonna
I think this is the only one that's
The only one?
not, yeah. I think the rest of them around it are,
They're all in the town.
They're all in the town.
Yeah, I
Right
wouldn't
now,
say half.
everything's in, yeah, there isn't a house in, right, they're all in the town.
Right, everything
I'm
to
thinking
the
along
west.
Evergreen Road.
Yeah. If you want, I can get a map.
No.
the eastern side, the lot is in the city, right? It's already been annexed.
Right.
It's
Right,
adjacent to
that's-
it.
Yeah.
Any
No,
other?
I was looking at the DCI maps earlier. It's so those other parcels might. I'm sorry, they are in well and septic in this town.
Yes.
They might
But that could change,
want to annex themselves later because if there's failing services.
exactly.
It's easier to do it now. That's their attitude. So,
Right.
Without the pressure.
But the rest of them, so,
Yeah.
these are the two we're talking about.
Those are the two. Yeah.
This is in, this is the one.
Yeah.
The rest of these are all,
So the vacant parcel is yeah. Yep. There's the. And the CUSA boundaries correspond to the municipal boundaries in that area, Abby?
I would think
Yes,
so, yeah.
yeah, the Grove parcel is in the CUSA now. That was approved.
Okay.
I think that came about a year after it was annexed, that all got approval.
Okay, further questions? Okay, so the motion is to authorize the staff to prepare the application for submittal and make the same recommendation to the common council. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So the motion passes. We are on to the, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I
Last-
guess, again, just to note, the density in that area on well and septic seems a little, so I don't know if there's anything at the engineering in terms of thinking about sizing whatever pipe we put in there that may have to eventually annex all those parcels.
But they have.
But we can't force it, it's gonna have to be the homeowners making that
Yeah,
choice.
that's right, so they have to come forward, so. Last item, number 6. Parliamentary Street reconstruction, typical cross-section. And I saw the minutes of the Public Works Committee and they approved it, so.
Here, the minutes are on your screen, the minutes of the Public Works
Oh,
Committee.
okay.
So last night, they recommended the following conceptual cross-section for reconstruction of Parmenter from about 450 feet north of Century to Greenbrier. Just for context, that's about this area here, up to Greenbrier, which is here. So this section.
Wait,
What's it?
they approved,
Well, I'm getting back to it.
Okay.
So
At the Public Works Committee, so.
There's a standard 4-lane undivided urban section in 90-foot right-of-way. They recommended no on-street parking on Parmenter north of the roundabout at Discovery. At Discovery?
Discovery.
Yeah, that's where the roundabout is now.
Oh, the roundabout at Discovery, okay.
Yes.
To be consistent throughout this corridor with the speed limit of 35 miles an hour. But between Schneider and Greenbrier, they recommended either 4-lane undivided urban cross-section as in 90 feet, or if the median is desired, they would want to see a 20-foot wide median, which it's not stated here. But that was in the original comments, and Sean had emailed that to us today. Then it would be 110-foot wide right-of-way. They recommended against a narrow median, as shown in the graphic, because it wouldn't be suitable for two-stage turning maneuvers at median openings and wouldn't provide pedestrian refuge in the median. So what that is all saying is,
Can you zoom in?
yep, I'm zooming
Yeah,
in.
makes sense. I think that's a good thing to do.
What is the average annual daily traffic there, Mark?
Boy, I don't know, but it's light. It's, you know, I would bet it's under
In which segment?
5,000. I would bet it's under 5,000 cars a day.
For which segment are you talking about?
Just anything north of
Anything in-
Century.
Anything north of Century?
Yeah.
And the projected land use is what in the plans for the city?
Well, this area is part of the Tribeca subdivision, or development. Currently has, how many apartments, Abby? Do you remember? I
Well,
can't
right
remember.
now, there are 3 buildings.
Right.
And they're about, we'll say like 80 units each on average, 80 or 90 each.
So 240.
So about, yeah, 240 to 270 units existing. They also have, from the previous GIP for Tribeca, also allowed some additional residential where that blue building is kind of shown. It's sort of hard to see. And then we also know that the Tribeca developers are going to be bringing something to the next plan commission meeting, requesting authorization to add about 99 units of senior housing on the north side of Tribeca Drive, where the big box was initially planned for. And then, throughout the remainder of Tribeca, what they would like to do would be office development for the remainder.
Jennifer, what do you,
Seems awfully wide
I was gonna say, a lot of road there, huh?
large, a lot of road for the development that's proposed.
Well,
And
And the
unless
current
it's
traffic.
like a major north-south, like Allen Boulevard or something like that, it just seemed like, I was kind of along those same lines, like, that's a lot of road for that kind of traffic.
It
But I
could
would-
handle, it could be a 2-lane roadway with the future development and still function fine,
With
Yes.
15, 16, 17,000 ADT, it could handle that easily.
correct?
What was the, just to follow up, what was the Public Works rationale, other than the fact that, just to put in a little zing that George would like, which is that they like really wide roads with really fast cars?
Well,
I mean,
no, but what's the width of the rest of the perimeter? Isn't that about, that's actually 100?
what is the rest of Parliamentary? It's 4.
Well, one could argue that the rest of Parmenter is overbuilt too.
It is
You know,
overbuilt.
from Donna Drive North especially.
all of it.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, it's a remnant of Highway 12.
it
what
is a remnant of Highway 12, but we could have made it, and I would argue still could make it narrower and have more infill opportunity by consolidating the lane, the right-of-way. Go back to the,
Question on ADT, I'm on the WSDOT, interactive map, and it shows 5,000 cars per day on 8/10 of 2015. It looks like they did counts in '09, and there were 4,000 cars a day, and in '05, there were 3,600 cars a day.
That little stretch?
Just north of,
Yeah,
I'm
Yeah,
surprised
this
it's
is-
that many.
north of Century, going north?
Yeah, this is north of Century, about where the dot is. It's like pretty close to right across from the cemetery, is where they were doing their counts, yeah, right around there.
Show it again.
So 5,000.
Yeah, right where the sign is, City of Middleton, right north of there, so.
Really?
Couple things. One is Bellefontaine is, of course, planned to extend across the northwest side, or, I'm sorry, yeah, the northwest side of the city. So from Parmenter and the Schneider intersection, northeast to Highway Q at Onken Road.
Right.
So in the future, we are going to have we have planned to have a major corridor, basically running, right through here, through Middleton Ridge, and then bending farther north now than we originally planned because the county has purchased this land. So it's going to be up to here and then cross over, and probably just be Balzer Road is my guess, and end up here at this intersection. So we'll have, and we anticipate that the rest of it, if nothing else is purchased, will be a mixed development with some density to it, which we are doing smaller lot development now. And so there will be significant growth in traffic in the future, connecting to Parmenter and then south here, connecting with the rest of the city. The other thing I wanted to add is I did talk to Alder Foussard who represents this area, and I wondered whether there's an opportunity to connect Century Place. This is actually originally Highway 12.
Yeah.
You can, actually, here's old Highway 12 connecting in on Weber Road, and, you know, this was you can see how this used to be the old road to Sauk City. And then that got bypassed here, and then that got bypassed again. But is there a desirability of connecting this neighborhood with what is essentially a local street now? And he was gonna be checking with
Connecting which road,
Century
Century
Place
Place
Yes.
to Parmenter?
to
But the
Parmenter.
people who are living on,
People may not like it,
yeah,
but at the same time, if they live here and want to go north, you know, want to connect, if they want to take their recycling to the mock,
I've often wondered why that road didn't connect through, but.
well, because it was severed when this was a 4-lane
Right, right.
or 2-lane road, really, is what it's been. So anyway, it's just, I see an opportunity here to enhance our street grid. Obviously, these things are never simple, and then there's strong feelings about traffic. But right now, everybody here, including emergency responders, have to, in order to get to this neighborhood, have to, you know, access from down here.
Well, there's a grass entrance that the fire department can use to cut on that road, right?
Where?
close to the
Right, right there.
Oh,
cemetery.
in theory, they could, yeah, I suppose.
I mean, that would have
Is there
been
a
probably
barrier
required.
And
at the time.
we just, the thing is, that doesn't have to be decided tonight. I just am flagging this
But it
as
seemed like a
potential.
good idea, something
It's
to
something it
think
should be
about, yeah.
discussed, and Alder Froussard was gonna talk with some people here.
Okay, so let's get back to
wait,
the.
So why is this here today? Is it?
Future cross-section.
The future cross-section, but when would that likely be improved?
It's in our capital budget as a request for 2021. We just presented the budget. I haven't really gotten much feedback from the finance committee or council about whether they want to proceed. There are a couple other things that are happening though. One being the request from MIG, Commercial Real Estate, to rezone the property, because I think their concepts are quite a bit different from what was previously approved for Tribeca. And you'll recall that they brought forward the GIP. There wasn't really a whole lot of detail in it, and they went back to the drawing board. What they would like to do in the short term is to extend Tribeca Drive to meet Parmenter Street, but our public works staff would like for a TIA to be done in order for that extension to happen, so that we understand what the intersection would look like. Because that intersection there previously was contemplated as a roundabout, now they would like to shift that, and they're interested in possibly having a signalized or even a non-signalized intersection, but not a roundabout. And in order to study all of these things with the TIA, we need, the first step is kind of to understand what the future cross-section of Parmenter will be, so that we can do the TIA along with understanding what they're really proposing in the development.
As long as we're thinking about that, I know I mentioned it last time, but why don't we eliminate Springton Drive? I mean,
Yes.
at a 90-foot right-of-way, which is extreme, the entrance to that parcel just north of Springton could easily be off Parmenter and doesn't require coming in Springton.
Well, and the reason that, so we brought that up to our public works staff, after it was discussed at a previous meeting, and they said that we needed to keep Springton in place because the previous zoning for Tribeca still had that as a big box, and that would have been the loading dock access for the big box retailer, cause it would have been the back of the store.
Which previous zoning for,
Yeah, this was
Tribeca.
zoned as a,
And T-Wall brought forward the initial.
but I think we already decided that GIP is not
That's
in
correct.
effect.
That was a recent
Yeah.
realization though, like within the last couple months. So now, the concept that has been submitted to the city for that northern property is for housing, and they would like to take access off of Springton. So if the city does want to proceed with vacating that right-of-way, we need to make that decision pretty quickly, because this proposal that we have in hand now that will be coming forward to the next meeting is
Do
showing.
they need access off Springton, or do they just were planning on it since it's there as a way to kind of slow down traffic, so you're coming off Parmenter onto Springton and then into a neighborhood. Because,
Development that they're proposing is senior housing, and it has one access point off of Tribeca, but also connecting through surface parking to Springton. So I think they wanted two access points. What, I think it could easily be, well, I don't wanna say easily, cause I'm not a real estate developer, but I think that it could be reconfigured so that they could have their needed access off of Tribeca Drive, and there might even be a possibility for, if the plan commission decides that they wanna allow housing on that property, which our staff doesn't support, but will lay out,
and this is a
Frozen.
senior housing proposal, not,
yes, yep.
not the proposed apartments.
So wouldn't you
Right, it
think
would
that,
be memory care, independent living, and, what is it? What is the third type of housing?
Memory
That's a-
care?
Memory care, assisted living, thank you.
Good.
Yeah.
Independent, yeah.
so Abby, wouldn't you think that that would make a sense to connect within the development rather than, rather than cul-de-sac?
To connect Tribeca Drive?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, yep, we
Yeah.
support, our staff
mm,
is fully supportive of extending Tribeca Drive at the cost of the developer to meet, Parmenter Street. We want that
Okay.
to happen. We think that would
To
be
meet
really
it
helpful.
right at Graber.
Yes,
so that,
And-
my
and-
question was, that intersection, Tribeca and
Yeah.
Graber, but that's going to be worked out later then.
Yeah, and I still see if we have that connection, there's no need for Springton. But
I agree with you.
Huh?
Except we're kind of getting off topic.
There's one other,
But it's a lot of road.
It would provide more
So
and to develop.
it is, but let's say if we have that, the other road which Mark was talking about, that's much bigger than this one, right? So
oh, Bellefontaine?
Bellefontaine, that's, what is the size of that one? That's more like.
Well, yeah, I mean, what we've done is that was officially mapped and anticipated probably 110 feet of right-of-way, I think sounds right, going through the Misty Valley Middleton Ridge subdivision. But, this was done 10-plus years ago and in an era when we were planning more for four-lane roads, and that school of thought is evolving so that we try to get by with narrower roads and wider nodes.
Okay, so,
there's
well,
this idea of a road diet, which is that we're, especially if we want to create a more urban type footprint, that we're not creating, that the primary purpose of planning is not to accommodate the free flow of traffic at design speeds, but rather to actually slow the traffic down. And 90 feet of
Okay.
right-of-way is,
Especially if there's housing there. I
Is-
mean, there's reasons why we'd want people to cross Parmenter, to go to other portions of the neighborhood, to possibly walk to school, to, we don't want this to be an isolated island where no one can safely cross Parmenter.
we have somebody really distinguished here, Karen, and I'm going to ask him he wants to provide some input.
Yes, I'm not sure if this is the right time or place
Go
to do
go
public
ahead, so
input,
it's,
but I'm
may or
Kieran.
may not be, but we're going to go ahead and do
The
it. so.
conversation was heading in the direction.
Yeah, go
of
ahead,
the
identify
director.
yourself, Karen, and,
So I'm Kieran Furlong. I live around the corner here on Middleton Street. Pretty new resident in Middleton. But this is touching on some of the things that I'm very interested in, and I was talking to the mayor about volunteering for some of the committees. But your last point, Jennifer, around creating an island, already, so I live one house from University Avenue, but it's very rare I would cross University North with my children to go to the park that's just 2 blocks away because of the 4-lane street. And I know that my daughters have got some friends, I think it's the Meadow Lane apartment block there. So they will, be hopefully walking or biking to Middleton High School in a number of years. Tribeca inevitably will have more kids in it. And then if there's senior living, assisted living, and those, you're going to have people who may not be driving. So I think your point about having an island that you cannot cross a 4-lane highway is apropos. And I just thought when I saw 90 feet of roadway, to your points there around, it's a lot of road,
But it's,
When-
it's 90 feet of right-of-way.
Of right-of-way,
The
right.
actual cartway width is, what was it, 56?
Right.
Which is,
Them
so
put
11 feet,
lanes.
four 11-feet travel lanes with
It's
no
44.
median.
44.
And two 6-foot bike lanes,
Right.
plus
Paint-
a terrace.
Those are two,
56.
the bike lanes are painted on, non-segregated.
Yeah.
It seems like that would be an ideal place to have segregated bike lanes to connect to Pheasant Branch Trail.
And I was about to bring that up too. Jim Blodgett, our chairperson of the Ped Bike Transit Committee, is here, and in the staff comments.
You guys are doing awesome, so just keep going.
Yeah, just keep going,
It's
huh?
funny to have a conversation with city employees that doesn't end with me getting really upset, so.
Well, after Karen, Jim, go ahead and provide
Yes.
your input, or even now. Thank you, Karen.
Kieran, quickly for the minutes, can you please give your address and also your last name?
Kieran Furlong, I'm at 1912 Middleton Street.
Thank you, Karen. Yes, Jim.
So, I'm Jim Blodgett. I live at 34 Hidden Hollow Trail, Madison, Wisconsin.
What?
So, the house at the end of the driveway is actually in Middleton. I'm here as a representative of the Middleton Cross Plains Area School District. And I serve as the chair of the Pedestrian and Bike Committee. So apologies to Dan and Mark.
The chair and the bike committee of the city of Middleton. Is there a similar committee within the school district, or like a safety
No,
committee?
I'm the representative from the school district. I'm not sure what I said yes to at some point, but I started showing up at these meetings. So I'm really heartened to hear that people are talking about slowing down traffic, because nothing makes me crazier than hearing someone say that I'm designing this road for 38 or 45 miles per hour when the speed limit's 30, because we all know that signs do not slow people down. We also know that there are great ways to get people to slow down in their cars. And the reason, obviously, we want people to slow down in their cars is much safer for them. But it's also much safer for everybody else on the road. And if we design our roads so that drivers can be engaged in the act of driving, they actually stop using their phones and they pay attention. When you make your roads wide and straight and fast, there's no reason for them to pay attention because the car seems to be going just fine by itself. I think all the points about where residential housing is here and looking into the future, because obviously this road will be built now, or in 2 years, but will last for 20 to 30 years, depending on budgets. Almost for sure there'll be more housing up at Greenbrier. Almost for sure there will be more need to drive, hopefully through Middleton to get to work at either the industrial park or in downtown. And the last thing we want is Parmenter Raceway to be extended up to the freeway, because that will make things very scary for anybody not surrounded by metal. I think the comments about making sure that the bike lane is protected are awesome, though there's lots of driveways here, so we'd want to be really mindful about how we did that. The idea about making the street very safe to cross is also really apropos here. I think that we will have people that will need to cross the street either to get to other services or just to go visit Great River Pond or to go to school. And the fewer people we have driving their cars to school, the safer our students are. Because obviously the most dangerous thing that most people do every day is get in their car and drive their kids to school.
Any questions for?
So along those lines, I think keeping this road narrow, making it feel uncomfortable is what we want to happen in more of our city. That this idea that you can be comfortable and safe at the speed limit means that it's not a speed limit.
Yes.
It's like where your speed starts.
Well, look at the Gammon Road, we got only 2 lanes, so, and the traffic is more like 10,000 cars, Mark, or how many cars are there on Gammon Road? Gammon and Park.
Kept up my.
Gammon Road, you said?
Yeah.
That's about,
10,000?
no, it's
15?
more, it's 13, probably south of Tiedemann Pond.
And here we are talking about 5, so.
Well,
could go up to
short
10,
term,
so,
yeah.
So,
And it's,
This road will become a cut-through if it's improved, right? Because people will go, oh, I don't have to go down Airport Road to the on-ramp to Highway 12. I can take this short road, but I can go 60 miles an hour because it's nice and wide.
Okay,
and
so,
I mean, at the risk of angry emails, I think we want to send a message to our Public Works Committee that the era of wide roads and fast traffic has to end. It's not safe.
Right.
Especially in this area, so.
Okay, so
What-
let's
And
have
what
a-
did they, what did they recommend approval?
They recommended as proposed, so more or less.
So they said a 4-lane with
No division.
no median?
Right.
Up to
So
here.
90
No,
foot
there's a
right of way.
median
Schneider.
beyond Greenbrier, but no median before that.
Nuh-uh.
Okay, so let's have it, so make a motion, Kurt, so then let's
What's
see.
the motion?
Yeah,
What are
what
we
you would
bringing
like,
out?
what you
So
would
we have
like it to
endorsed-
be, not what's there.
We endorsed, the staff recommendation was to endorse the TIF, what the TIF team came up with, but that's compatible with what Public Works recommended. So if you are interested in a narrower right-of-way, then that is the direction you would want to give us in a motion, is to have a narrow right-of-way other than what's on the screen here.
Well,
And there's the issue of
right-of-way's
the
fine,
bike.
It's just the road.
Well, that's fine, but it could affect the right-of-way too.
And there's no, I don't see any
Could
clear
go
need
the
for
right way.
4 lanes. Why can't it be 3 lanes with a turn lane in the middle?
Like
With
a
a,
Gammon
with kind of a
Road.
buffered median that's, it just provides a few
Is
slip
that your
turns.
motion?
Or you could.
Well, I mean, I'm not an engineer, so I don't wanna sit here and.
Neither am I,
I
but.
don't wanna sit here and redesign someone's road without having all the information in front of me, but I know what I'm against, and it's a 90-foot right-of-way with 4 lanes at 35 miles an hour with no median. That's just,
Well, and the facts are now that there is not a lot of traffic that would justify a 4-lane roadway today, and we know if there's housing there, and we'll have to wait for the TIA to pan out, but my opinion would be it would not justify a 4-lane later. This would be an area where you could probably get by with a 2-lane roadway.
Okay,
And
should we
it's-
send it
This is
back to,
Gammon Road.
should we send it back to Public Works with these comments?
Or we
So-
could also,
I mean-
you know, Tom Stetzer of Strand on our behalf worked up this cross-section. We could just give him direction that we want a narrower cross-section and he could come back with some options for consideration.
Okay,
Let's do that.
so
Yeah,
is that
let's
a
do that.
motion? Somebody make
So,
that?
I'll make that
And
motion.
this is Gammon
Okay,
Road.
what's
need
the
a
motion?
Motion is to send
Send it
it,
back to them.
ask Tom Stetzel to,
Back with some
listen to
narrower
our
options.
comments and then come up with something better.
make it an urban street, not a suburban
Okay,
thoroughfare.
add that to the motion as well.
And this is, by the way, Gammon Road that you were talking about, where there's
Yeah.
a lane in each direction, and then the 2-way left turn lane with the bike lanes. And what I meant by buffered bike lanes, since we haven't elaborated on that, is you could do that with paint and have a double, have an extra, use paint to have a wider
We
bike
need
lane.
physical separation of
Or
bike
you need a physical
facilities.
separation. The problem with that, and I'm not
I know.
against it, is the problem with that is wintertime maintenance.
Yep. But I think, oh, you gotta be at the mic. I think we're coming to a point where we gotta say pedestrians and bicycles and transit far ahead of moving cars on these roads. This is just, and I'm gonna oppose 4 lanes for Bellefontaine for the same reason. For exactly the reasons Jim said.
Exactly. And I think the benefit there is that you've got a right-of-way already established. That could be an awesome bike lane,
Yeah.
right? That's an awesome way for people to get to downtown Middleton without having to climb a big hill. Because not everybody's willing to buy an electric bike like I did.
Well, the other part is, we had some developers looking at it, and they got turned away when they knew that how much the road right-of-way will be for the road, so including the Viridian. And if we change it, I think that probably could help the development progress, move forward, so. Okay, so, yes,
Abby,
Jennifer.
if you could write in the notes for him to also research if there's utility under, I think lower on Parmenter, there was some on the east side, and
Yep.
Yeah.
it would be good to understand if there's a right-of-way restriction that we can't.
I highly doubt there is, because this was such a rural cross-section, but it's a good thing to check.
So we have a motion by Ramsey and I didn't get who seconded it.
I'll second it.
And then it's to, request that the TIF team come back with some options for a narrower street and a more urban cross-section and research utility locations that may impact the right-of-way location.
Excellent. Does that sound good to everyone?
Yeah.
Any more comments? The motion is, as Abby read it to you, all those in favor of the motion say aye. Anyone opposed, so the motion passes. Need a motion to adjourn. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned, and now remember,